Hey everyone, this is Carmen. One of the members of the Discord channel asked me a really good question, which is what questions should you ask a copywriting client when you have a phone call with them or a discovery meeting? And the discovery portion, when you're working with a client, is one of the most crucial steps because this is where you figure out if you're a good fit, you can work together, they're going to understand your services, your experience, the value you provide, and also just to figure out if you can have a relationship and work together and if it's a good fit. And this is really going to set the tone of the project and the relationship you have with the client. It'll give you a lot of really crucial information you need to write copy. And this applies to any service though. You can be an agency, you can be a copywriter, a designer. This is a really important step. And I want to break down just some of the questions you can ask them. I'll put this in the description as well if you want to take a look and modify it yourself. You don't have to ask every single question here. It's more just for inspiration, and then you can kind of make your own script and outline to ask. But this is a lot of important information that you definitely need. So I'll go over the questions, break down, and give you some more kind of information on them, why you should ask them, and some other kind of tips and tricks. So first thing is about their business. So you always want to ask, what does the company do, right? Give them a quick opportunity to explain their business, the products and services they provide, their offer, and just kind of get a high-level overview of who they are, what industry they're in, and then also who the target audience is. And now when you're asking about the audience, there's demographics like their age, location, income, and you do need that. But most importantly, as a copywriter and marketer, you want to understand these psychographics, the customer's desires, their feelings, their challenges and pain points, what keeps them up at night, their dream outcome and desires. This is really what's going to create a good advertisement or marketing material. So it's really important you understand that. And something also you should ask is for a buyer persona. A lot of companies will actually document their target audience into maybe a graphic, a spreadsheet, maybe a Google Doc like this, and it explains who their audience is, and then you can reference that while you're writing. But definitely ask this question in the call and ask if they have that persona on hand that they can share with you. But yes, so ask about the company, what they do, what industry they're in, about their products and services. And it's also very important though to ask about how does that benefit the customer? So if you're in copywriting, you know that there's features and benefits. I've mentioned it a million times. So let's say they are maybe a law firm, right? So they help people with personal injury, let's say. That is the feature, that's their service, but the benefit is really what that does for the consumer. So in that case, it would be helping them with paperwork and making sure the process is smooth, winning their case and having peace of mind and kind of getting that problem solved in their life and being stress-free and everything and alleviating them from those pain points. So definitely start off asking about the business and their target audience, goals and objectives. Okay, so ask what are the short-term and long-term goals of the business and specifically this project they're working on. Are they trying to get more revenue, conversions, and sales? Are they thinking more about lead generation, maybe just brand awareness, building up their brand, getting their name out there and getting more market share in their industry? What are they trying to achieve with this copywriting project? So if they have a goal in mind, then you can actually measure your copywriting and marketing and what you provide for them. And you can actually show that there is a return and a success, right? If there's no goal in mind, you can't really measure it. So make sure you ask that. And then of course, how will you measure the project? Are we measuring conversions and revenue, return on ad spend? Are we looking for more website traffic, keyword rankings in Google and search engines? So definitely ask about what are the overall goals of the project and business. And that's gonna help you shape, the work you do and how you measure it. Challenges and pain points. So something I like to ask them is the challenges that they're facing in the business. Maybe they're not getting enough content out. Maybe they're struggling to write good advertisements. Maybe they have a poor website conversion rate, whatever it might be. And then also, as I mentioned, the pain points of the customer. So it depends business to business. If they are B2B, direct to consumer, B2C, there's a lot of elements here, but essentially ask about the pain points in their own business, but also that the client faces, or the customer faces rather, themselves. And then something also like asking is what maybe challenges have they faced working with other writers or other agencies and vendors, because often this will give you a lot of insight in how to have a better relationship with them in the past. And for example, when I've asked businesses that need copywriting or content writing, typically writers didn't produce very good work. They overpromised, underdelivered. They didn't communicate very well. They couldn't measure their work. They weren't good at reporting. And they pretty much just promised a lot, but they always underdelivered. And then you can do the opposite of that, and you'll impress them and you'll have a great long-term relationship. Just always focus on offering value and being that top-notch service provider. Brand identity and voice. So obviously you want to make sure you're on brand, and this can be a really tough thing to do if you're a new copywriter, and even an advanced one, is making sure you have that tone of voice and you're aligning with their brand. Because if you're putting out content and advertisements and it sounds nothing like what they've done before, it can really throw off their consumers and audience because it doesn't feel and sound the same. And one thing I would ask is if they have brand guidelines. And now again, just like the buyer persona, this is going to essentially document certain words and phrases they use, adjectives, and a way to describe their branding and tone of voice. And again, this will also give you maybe examples you can use, and you'll reference this while you write just to kind of stay on voice and on brand. It's also very important to ask about competitors. So who are the main competitors? This will help you essentially find out how you can shape your copy and marketing material to stand out and be better and have that value proposition, which we'll also be asking a little bit later. And what makes your brand apart or set it apart from competitors. And really this goes into the value proposition, because obviously no matter what kind of product or service you have, consumers will be consciously or subconsciously thinking, what makes this better? Why should I choose this one versus another? And also if you have a list of competitors, you can go research them and you can swipe them. You can look at how they're writing their copy and advertisements and content, and you can get ideas and inspiration from that and make it even better. Again, previous copywriting efforts, so ask, what worked in the past, what hasn't. You can look at their successful campaigns and advertisements, emails, whatever they're putting out. You can learn from that and replicate it. As I asked, or as I mentioned before, have you worked with copywriters before or agencies? Try to learn from that experience and offer something even better. And if they do have existing content or copy, definitely document that. And again, you can reference that while you write and while you work, and you can just stay on brand and produce something similar or even better. Target audience insights. So if they have, again, the buyer persona, you'll get that, but they might have other analytics and data, case stories or case studies rather, customer success stories they can share. And this will all give you a lot of insights into who that target audience is, and you can write your copy to resonate with them. Key messages and value propositions. So if they can explain what makes them better than the competition, you can include that in your copy and it'll help with conversion rates. Logistics. So this is where you want to talk more about the project itself and working together. So what's the timeline? Do they need you to start, today, next week? Is this something in the future? Do they have any specific preferences with deadlines, how they're going to do revisions and reviews? Maybe they like working through Zoom and Slack. Maybe they want to work purely through Google Docs. Maybe they're on Trello. So make sure that you understand where you're going to be working with them just to streamline communications and workflow. And of course, as a vendor and a service provider, you do have to talk dollars and cents. I know if you might be a newer freelancer or copywriter, it can be intimidating to talk money, but you're a vendor and you're professional. And so you do want to be talking about what's the budget for this project. You want to make sure that aligns with your rates and the revenue you're trying to bring in. And you have any resources or materials that will help with this. So maybe there's designers you can work with. They have anything to kind of explain their budget breakdown, things of that nature. Definitely ask for it. The more resources you get from them, it just makes the project smoother. Point of contact and communication. So depending on the company's size and the department, you might be working with maybe say the marketing director, a content marketing manager. So make sure you know who you're speaking with and sending the material to for revisions and reporting. Again, how do they prefer to communicate? Is it going to be video calls, phone, email? Make sure that's set beforehand. And then finally are the next steps. So you can ask them, how would you like to move forward? Do you want to review maybe my samples and portfolio? Would we like to look at a contract? Do you need to talk with, your manager about the budget? So try to map out what you guys can do together to start moving this forward. Typically, you might have a contract. You might send in maybe a 50% invoice. A lot of different factors come in here, but just discuss what you would like to do next. And then essentially you can end the call and actually move on to those actions. But generally speaking, these are the type of questions you want to ask. You can really also tighten these up and just ask maybe like 5 to 10. It doesn't have to be all of them. But again, I will put this in the description and you can take a look at that. You can make a copy of it, use these exactly, or kind of tune them up how you like. But again, remember the discovery portion of a freelance project, agency project is probably the most important step. So make sure you nail this just to get that relationship going with the client, get all that information and resources to produce something better. And this is gonna, really set you apart as well. And it'll make sure you're prepared and you have a smooth process. If you want to learn anything about copywriting, digital marketing, just let me know down in the comments. You can also join the Discord if you want to ask me questions there. I have the Copy Pro Academy you can join for $20 a month. You get coaching, copy critique, and access to the private community as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.